To the March 10th, 2020 Board of County Commissioners meeting. I'm Kate Flavin, Public Information Officer with Sedgwick County. We are streaming this morning's meeting live on KPTS Channel 8, on our website, sedgwickcounty.org, on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Commissioners still have plexiglass barriers between them, staff are socially distanced, and we are wearing our masks as well. I have mine here, but I'm at the podium, so that is why my mask is off. During yesterday's staff meeting, commissioners heard a report on youth correctional programs, the COVID-19 vaccine update, and then upcoming legislation. So if you'd like to check out that meeting and hear what was discussed in detail, feel free to check it out on our website, on Facebook, or on YouTube. Right now, I'd like to turn it over to our partner, Maggie Thompson of the Black Nurses Association, to talk about the partner clinics that the Sedgwick County Health Department has been able to put on, thanks in part to the Black Nurses Association. So Maggie, the floor is yours.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm so excited. I tell you, this has been a whirlwind, but I tell you, it's been the best win I ever felt. We had on March the 7th, St. James Baptist Church, our first vaccine clinic with the health department and the Wichita Black nurses there. And we did 144 vaccines. That was good. I mean, it's not that big of a church, so that was a good amount. I was looking for a couple of hundred, but it's okay. We did 144. Nurses, the Black nurses gave vaccines. They were in the observation room. We pulled out some African-American firefighters, paramedics, EMTs that came in to help. One of them is a registered nurse, but a retired fireman. We are on a mission. We have this coming Sunday, Tabernacle Baptist Church, March 14th, on a Sunday from 1 to 5. They will already have 150, and I think they've been limited to 150. There's stairs in that church, and we just wanted to limit the amount of people going in. We could have easily probably got a couple hundred, but 150 is good. That is March the 14th. Then we moved to March the 23rd, which is St. Mark's Methodist Church, and they have a gym. And so we're looking at 300 to 400 people that can come through there. Me and Danielle met with them, and Miss Sarah met with them on yesterday. So we're good. St. Mary's Baptist Church, they have a gym. We're going to be good. I'm looking at ISIS Christian Church. They have a big gym. I'm looking now at, we wanted to kind of get a mindset of what it was going to be like doing this with the smaller churches, and that's what we've done. We know that that has been a success, and people, we had to move names and numbers from St. James Church, our first church, to the churches happening now. And we could have got more, but like I said, we stopped it at 150. But these churches with the gyms, they are anxious, they're ready, and we need to get the amount of people up. I mean, this 150, 144 is, like I say, a blessing, but we're trying to go 500 people and kind of get the population of African Americans in Wichita, the percentage up that is documented for who have had their vaccine. Like I preached to my Black neighbors and friends and family, this COVID-19 for Black and brown people, we get the sickest and we die the quickest. And that is my stance on that. And my other stance is this vaccine is not a suggestion. It is a must. And we pulled in, I know at least 7 or 8 people on the 7th at St. James who said they were not getting the vaccine. I'm too scared about it. They were going back in history. And I said, we don't want to hear all that. That is on the back so many years ago. Let's talk about what's happening 2021. You need a vaccine. And we pulled in about 8 people who said they wasn't going to do it. They brought their wives in or their girlfriends, or they came in and got these vaccines. So that's great. My other thing is, on that day, we only had about a 20% of brown people, Hispanic. And I was able to get a hold of a person who had a connection with a Hispanic radio station here in Wichita to put the word out. If they are interested in getting this done in their own community, that's what they could do. And I was told there was a doctor, for some reason she's Hispanic, she works at St. Francis. I don't know her. I think her name was something begin with the S, Salma. I may be wrong. You guys may know who this person is. But I was told that her and other nurses were talking about it, and they didn't want to do church to church to church. They wanted to do it in their evergreen recreational center. And so I sent information to a contact person to call Danielle, because Danielle is working with me on getting churches and things like that done. So that was a good thing for me to feel that we are going to involve the brown, the Hispanics, Latinos, because they want to be in their own area. I got it. No matter where they are, I don't care if they're on the corner of 21st and Hillside with a tent, long as you're getting people in, getting brown and black arms vaccinated. So I was very happy to hear that, and very thankful to the health department. When I talked to Adrian, she didn't even stutter about, yes, let's get this done. We said, we black nurses, folk want to see our black faces, and I felt the churches was the place to go. And I'm telling you, that was the answer to getting these people out, getting their vaccines.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for that. And definitely you are a champion in our community. Commissioners, do you have any comments for Maggie?
Well, thank you, Maggie. From my perspective, this is wonderful. This is an example of how we're getting a lot of vaccines in now, and we've got to put the gas on to get it out in the community. And of course, the library is doing a great job, but you heading up some neighborhood stuff is really good, and expanding it. So thank you. Anybody else comment?
Yes.
So
thank you.
Commissioner Lopez.
Thank you so much, Maggie. I actually went on Sunday and just walked around to see how everything was going, and talked to a woman there who was, I don't know, mid-80s, and she was about as feisty as can be, and she needed help getting, through the process. She did not want a wheelchair at all, and so I wanted to walk through, the process with her, and you guys just did an amazing job, and I just wanted to make sure that you know how much we appreciate you. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Everybody takes care of each other, their own community. It don't matter where you live, what you look like, how deep your bank account is. COVID does not care about any of that. How cute you are, what outfit you wearing, it will get you. And that's what I tell my people, it will get you. And some of us, the COVID like to get us worse. And so do something about it. Protect yourself. Get that armor. Get that arm. You got that first shot, get that second. I had to talk to a man who got the first shot, but he had so many side effects with it. And I explained the reason for that. He was just really kind of thinking, if maybe this is good enough. I got half of my armor, and so I'm not sure if I'm going to go back. So we have to have a chat and let him know, you have to go back to get the other part of that shirt. That it's like a twin. Who want to leave their twin? Go and you got the first twin of the shot. The second twin is waiting on you. Don't use your other arm. One twin for one arm. Whatever I need to tell them that to get them stimulated. And one of the pastors said that Mr. Smith is really thinking, because they in the church have been talking about it. He just had a lot of symptoms. I broke it down as to why and this and that, and that everybody is different. Your sister may not get the same symptoms, which she didn't, but he did. So that is the other thing, is once they get that shot, I keep praying, and my prayers are answered when I see their names on that list. They're marked off for the second shot, because that first shot is the beginning. And they're hearing all these things about, I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it, because all these hurts, all these pains, all these aches, a fever, the this, the that, and we'll be in a hospital upside down with a tube in your throat, and somebody calling your wife, your mother, your sister to look at you for the last time on an iPad. You get this shot, the best you're going to get is a headache and some chills. And you can even do something, but you in a better shape. And I say, don't use that. I say, that sounds like a person who don't care about what they family think or want to be by them. So whatever it takes, I'm known in the community for putting together trips on buses to go to Branson to see the biblical shows. And I try to do it to people who have cancer or just don't get out enough. They're in wheelchairs, but I don't care. We figure out how to get them on a bus. And I tell my people on my Facebook that follow me, I say, this is the deal. You guys need to, I have had my vaccine, and everybody that goes on my bus from here forward until somebody say we good to go with this vaccine, you will have to show me your card. And I mean it. And you will be wearing a mask on the bus. So those are the things that I mean. I mean this passionately from my heart. I'm not playing about this COVID. I lost my brother on Christmas Day. I lost my neighbor who I loved. We lost these people. And so that when you can do something about it, we may not understand all the science of it. I have been reading, I have a lot of information that I even made in sheets to pass to people about it and how important the vaccine is and share that. But we don't understand. I'm sure all of you all don't really just get it. They're talking about maybe a booster, this and that. Well, it don't matter. Right now, they got 3 vaccines. Pick one. It's what I tell my people. And I don't want to hear,
Okay, and
I want this because I heard about this. Each one of them is going to, don't get me on the bandwagon, y'all.
okay, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie. We'll let you go about your day.
Maggie, hey, this is Lacey Cruz. I wondered, can you just reiterate, so this weekend you're going to be at Tabernacle, and then you're going to St. Mark's and then St. Mary's, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Meeting with St. Mary's today.
oh, you're meeting with St. Mary's to set it up. Okay, looks like we're having some.
Yes. So far, yeah. I mean, but St. Mark's has already got a date, which is the 23rd of March. But they want to do it on a weekday. It works for their life in their church, doing something 2 to 6. Tabernacle, we do this. That's for sure happening on March the 14th from 1 to 5. Yeah, and then St. Mary's will follow.
Okay. Thank you so much for your passion, and thank you for doing this.
I probably got about 8 churches. Yeah. I'm not going to be trying to get every church in Wichita. Other people have to come to the churches. So I just want you guys to know that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Maggie. Appreciate you being here and doing all of this, setting this up. It's important.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you. I've got an appointment and it's in a gym. So am I done?
You are. Thank you very much, Maggie.
All right. I love you guys for helping us so much. God bless.
Thank you. You too. All right, and then on the agenda this morning, we have meeting minutes, proclamations. We'll be discussing a few projects or a few items related to roads and bridges. And then we have a grant for ComCare. We do have a fire agenda and an executive session. So, Chairman, I will hand the meeting to you.
Okay, thank you, Kate. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday, March 10th at 9 a.m. Sedgwick County Board of County Commissioners meeting. At this time, I'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, next item.
Invocation to be observed by a moment of silence. Please remain standing for the flag salute.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Roll call. Commissioner Lopez,
Present.
Commissioner Dennis,
Present.
Commissioner Howell,
Present.
Commissioner Cruz, Chairman Meitzner.
Present. Next item, please.
Public agenda.
Commissioners, we received the email copies that were sent to us. Does anybody have any comments about those or questions about them? Being none, I'll make a motion that we receive and file the public comments that we all got by email. Is there a second? Okay. A motion and a second to receive and file. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. And we do have two people signed up for public agenda, and the first one is Andrew Crane here.
Chairman, we've made several attempts to get a hold of Andrew, and he is unavailable.
Okay.
So we do have the second speaker, Toby Castelli, on the phone.
Okay.
Okay.
So Andrew Crane he'll be here sometime, I'm sure. So next up is Toby Castelli. Toby, please state your name and address, and you have 5 minutes to address the commission.
Are you talking to me? This is Toby.
Yes, Toby, yes.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
That's okay.
So my question is, what criteria are you using as the commission to continue recommending or to continue the mask mandate? Or whoever you're getting your recommendations from, be it Dr. Mins or, the Medical Society of Sedgwick County, what criteria is being used to make this determination to continue the mandate?
Well, I'll take, you're right, it's the Medical Society and Dr. Mins and information that he and they are gathering locally and statewide and nationally. And he's indicated that we are going in a positive direction, and we're all, at the commission, we're hopeful that there'll be some relaxation of some of the orders, if not all of them, and masking could be one of those.
I appreciate that. I guess what I'm looking for is some more specifics that they're using as their guidelines instead of just general directions or feelings. For example, is it hospitalization rates? Is it a certain number of positive cases in a certain period of time? When this whole thing first began almost a year ago, a lot of us thought, well, we just need to flatten that curve. We need to make sure we don't have too many critical cases in ICU. If we run out of beds, according to the Sedgwick County site, your own dashboard, hospitalizations, you got a big green check mark. It's good. We don't have too many people in ICU compared to the number of beds that we have. Again, according to your own website, there's a rolling 14-day average positive percentage of all tests that's on a decline and has been for quite a while. So I'm looking for more specifics so that us residents, we know what the end game is. What's the goal? Because what I don't want to see happen is that this goal keeps getting moved. And every time we reach the goal that we were told we were trying to reach, it gets pushed. And that's what concerns me as a citizen. And I also get concerned that maybe Dr. Mins uses guidelines from the CDC, which makes me nervous in Wichita, Kansas, because the CDC is a national organization. And what's good for New York City and Los Angeles is going to be very different from what's good for Sedgwick County, Kansas. Obviously, populations and population density is completely different. So I hope that he's not going by those guidelines, because I don't think that's a national type decision like that is not going to be fair or effective. And so I guess I would ask that the commission require Dr. Mins or the Medical Society, whoever it is you're getting your recommendations from, for some specifics, so that the residents know what are our goals, what are we looking for, and then we can all follow along in the dashboard, and we'll all know when we're getting there, and there won't be so many unknowns.
Okay, Ms. Costello, you make some great points, and all those things that you pointed out are in a positive way. I know one of the key things, I believe, also is they're trying to determine a percentage of our citizens that are getting vaccinated, and I don't know what that percentage is that achieves the goalpost as you're talking about, but that's another component. And I think by the end of this week, apparently there'll be some directions that we'll all be able to receive and share, hopefully. So thank you for addressing us.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, Madam Clerk. Let's see. Next item, please.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, regular meeting minutes of February 17th, 2021.
Commission, you had a copy of the regular meeting minutes of February 17th. I'd like to also include item B, which is a special meeting minutes of February 19th, which was 2 days later. So unless there's an objection, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from both of those meetings.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. No other questions. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz. Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Proclamations. Item C, proclamation declaring World Plumbing Day.
Okay, we've asked Commissioner Jim Howe to read this proclamation, please. Thank you, Commissioner Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me read the proclamation. It says, whereas plumbers are dedicated to the advancement and education of the plumbing industry for the health, safety, and comfort of society and the protection of the environment. And whereas the plumbing trade is a worthy career, affording distinct opportunities to serve society. And whereas plumbing is a major part of everyday routine, such as having a shower, getting a glass of water from a tap, and flushing the toilet. And whereas the latest technological advances used in the design and methods of installation of equipment and materials, which comply with the standards recognized by plumbing industry. And whereas this industry locally supports all progressive moves that are being carried out along the lines of trade extension, in addition to standardization and sanitation. And whereas the Kansas Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors Association follows and executes their work in compliance with federal, state, county, and city building, safety, energy, and water conservation, fire and housing codes, and refuses to be party to any action that violates these regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that Chairman Peter F. Meitzner and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim that March 11th, 2021 as World Plumbing Day in Sedgwick County and promote the public's conservation of water through improved, adequate, safe, and modern installation of plumbing equipment. Mr. Chairman, I would move the adoption of the proclamation.
Okay, I'll second that. Any other questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just reflect on a couple of plumbers that I know. Lonnie Wright especially, I know he would be here if he could. One of our most faithful citizens of Sedgwick County that loves to come to these meetings, and I just want to say hi to Lonnie, and we miss you. And of course, I'd like to think of Ray Frederick, one of the other folks in this community that's very well known for his plumbing leadership in this community. So I wanted to say thank you to both of them for their leadership, and I'm pleased that we have this proclamation today to consider them and their industry. Thank you, Chairman.
You bet. Thanks for commenting on both Ray and Lonnie. Lonnie, the most famous plumber in the area.
There you go.
When you're like Smokey the Bear, he's Lonnie the plumber. So, the is their middle name. Anyway, okay. Don't see other comments. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz. Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item D, proclamation declaring Professional Buyers Day.
And we have Commissioner David Dennis to read this proclamation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. Whereas the public procurement profession plays a significant role in the efficiency and effectiveness of both government and business, and whereas in addition to the purchase of goods and services, procurement professionals add value to the organization by performing such functions as executing, implementing, and administering contracts, developing strategic procurement strategies, and cultivating working relationships with suppliers and other departments within the organization. And whereas public procurement professionals in Sedgwick County and in other public and private organizations have tremendous influence on the economic conditions in the United States, with a cumulative purchasing power running into the billions of dollars. And whereas the public procurement professionals in Sedgwick County recognize, support, and practice the public procurement values and guiding principles of accountability, ethics, impartiality, professionalism, service, and transparency established by NIGP, the Institute for Public Procurement, as fundamental tenets of public procurement profession. And whereas the public procurement professionals in Sedgwick County are committed to providing high-caliber, strategic, logistical, and operational support of all departments within Sedgwick County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Chairman Peter F. Meitzner and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim March 10th, 2021 as Professional Buyers Day in Sedgwick County and urge all citizens to join in recognizing the role of purchasing and materials management profession within business, industry, and government. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move that we approve this proclamation.
I'll second that. Thank you for reading that. And Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez.
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz.
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. And I understand somebody's here to receive this.
And we have Joe Thomas here to receive
there's
it,
Joe. I didn't
and
see
it
him.
looks like his entire procurement staff is here with us, too.
Do you want
Like
to,
to-
Kate, you want to deliver that proclamation? Joe, while you're getting that, I want to thank you and all the staff for your continued efforts on all the purchasing that you do. So I don't know the staff very well, but thank you all for being here and being part of that. And so we're appreciative.
Thank you very much, Commissioners, for your recognition. And as you've stated, March is Procurement Month for both the private industry, which is Institute for Supply Management, as well as the public sector, National Institute of Governmental Purchasing. And March 10th in particular is Professional Buyers Day. And I just want to thank the staff team that I work with for their professionalism in what they do each day. Even though it's one day they're recognized, each day they exhibit it. And I think it really became evident to me how much appreciation I had for them was during this pandemic. As you all know, during the different news items, there was so much difficulty in public agencies receiving personal protective equipment and disinfectants, and not only in receiving them, but also receiving those that were really fraudulent. And our team worked each day, long hours, to create a database, a repository of those type of items that we could receive. They checked all unlimited amount of sources. They did each day in trying to procure the equipment. They worked with emergency operations in setting up the warehouse that was in the Rounds and Porter building. And I just was so impressed with not only their resiliency, but also their creativity and just hustling. And it just meant a lot to me. And I'd like to introduce them. We have here Britt Rosencutter. Raise your hand, Britt. I'm sure they know you from Jamie Whitmer. And then we have Lee Barrier. And then we have Josh Lauber. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the staff that makes our jobs much easier. And that's our administrative specialist, Deanna Hutton, and our purchasing technicians, Chris Hopman and Lacey Jeffrey. And again, thank you very much for this proclamation.
You bet. And thanks for recognizing you all and raising your hands so we can see who you are. It's hard to recognize sometimes with the face guards on. So the only thing I'd also comment is I hope my wife didn't hear that today is National Buyer Day. 'Cause other than that, it's a great award. So, and can I take a step backwards? Is somebody here to receive the plumber? Ma'am, our sincere apology. Why don't you come up and please state your name and
All right. I'm Jolene Lorg,
Hi,
Executive
Jolene.
Director of Kansas Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors. And on behalf of our association, I thank the Sedgwick County Commission for issuing this proclamation. And thank Lonnie for about a year and probably the week before this, he calls me up and he says, Jolene, did you issue a proclamation? I'm just kind of new to this, and I said, I have no idea. But I want to thank you guys because I send out many, many emails, Barton County and Sedgwick County, because I represent the whole state, not just Wichita. We're the only two that decided to claim a proclamation. And plumbers are very, very important. I've learned so much from them. To the deep freeze down in Oklahoma, Texas. You know, our plumbers were busy. We have caught up a little bit, but there's a few volunteers from the state of Kansas that are going to go down and still help. Actually, the director that I visited with, same as me down at Texas, still is waiting for some of the plumbing issues to be fixed during her house. So again, I thank you. I appreciate it very much.
And Commissioner Howell has a comment, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you for being here for the request for the proclamation. I think it's very, very, very fitting, and I would actually be remiss if I didn't also mention, and I should have mentioned this earlier, we have we have an appeals and advisory board that works very hard as well, and I want to recognize them as well, because I know they take time out of their, these are folks that would like to spend time making money, but they take time out of their normal activities to go and come and serve Sedgwick County citizens on this Appeals Advisory Board. And I want to say thank you to them specifically. And also the Local 441, the facility over here in downtown Wichita is absolutely tremendous. They're running folks through there, giving them the skills they need to help fill the trades. It's a pipeline, and they're doing a tremendous job. If the commissioners haven't seen that, I would encourage them to go over there and take a look. It's just extremely impressive. But I just think the entire industry is a very honorable career. I was like, thank you for requesting this. People think this is a little strange, but I think it's perfect. This is exactly what we should be doing.
Yes.
And I appreciate you making the request today, and I do want to recognize all those excellent folks for their service to the county. Thank you again.
Thank you. And I'm also working, we have an apprenticeship program that we're trying to get going. And so I work with the guys over at 441. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And our apologies for overlooking.
No problem.
So,
I'm not a
okay.
good speaker anyway, so.
Well, you did a fine job. Thank you for explaining, and good luck. Thanks for the plumbers that are helping out Texas and all the way around, so thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Appointments. Item E, resolution appointing Stephanie Yeager to the Sheriff's Civil Service Board.
Mr. Papoon?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mike Papoon, County Councilor. This item is an appointment for Commissioner Lopez for the Sheriff's Civil Service Board. This is a 5-member board created both by statute and charter resolution that reviews and approves personnel policies for the Sheriff's Department, and also will review certain disciplinary matters as an appeal board for the Sheriff's Department as well. It's a somewhat unique board in that of the 5 members, only 3 can be of any one political party. Commissioner Lopez is recommending the appointment of Stephanie Yeager to this board to replace Gary Bond, whose term expired, and the resolution's in proper form, and ask that you approve the resolution.
Okay. Commissioner Lopez?
Well, I would make a resolution to approve, or I guess a motion to approve the resolution appointing Mrs. Yeager to the Sheriff's Civil Service Board.
Okay. It's been a motion and a second. Any other comments? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
New business. Item F, approval of statement of costs and assessment rule. Establish a public hearing regarding proposed special assessments for certain road improvement projects in the county and provide notice thereof.
Okay, presented Lynn Packer. Right? Morning.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Garth Herman with Gilmore and Bell, the county's bond counsel.
Yeah, Garth, good to see you.
Yeah, Lynn and I will be talking about this kind of in tandem, so if there's questions more appropriate for him, I'm sure he'll be more than happy to jump up.
Okay.
But the item before you this morning relates to 2 special assessment projects that were previously authorized pursuant to a petition submitted by the affected and benefited property owners, and then 2 resolutions that were previously approved by the Board of County Commissioners in order to authorize both the construction of those projects as well as the financing thereof by the issuance of general obligation bonds. So the 2 projects specifically are for Charisse Woods Edition Phase 1 street improvements, as well as Osage Country Edition Phase 1 street improvements. Both of those, as I said, were previously authorized pursuant to petition. The projects have both been completed, and the final costs for both of those projects have been basically certified and compiled. For your benefit, the final costs for the Charisse Woods Edition Phase 1 street projects came up to $250,694, which was below the engineer's estimate at the time the petition was submitted. Likewise, for the Osage Country Edition Phase 1 street improvements, the final costs on that were $619,710, which are also below the engineer's estimate that were completed at the time that the petition was submitted. So both of those completed and came in under budget. So this is, in essence, the next step in the process. So how the special assessments work for the county pursuant to K.S.A. 68728, as amended by the county's charter number 61, is that once those final costs are known, the county institutes the special assessment proceedings. It's a 2-step process. We're here at the first step. So today, what I'll ask that the county commission do is to accept the statement of final costs, which are included in the packet. Also to basically certify the assessment roll. That's the roll that actually lists each of the benefited properties, and then the estimated principal amount of the assessment that will be assessed against each of those properties. There will also be a notice of public hearing that will be accepted and approved. This is the notice that will get published one time in the Derby Informer in advance of the public hearing to basically notify the public that the special assessments are going to be levied, and there will be a public hearing held in conjunction with that levy. And then the fourth thing will be to approve the form of the notice of public hearing and the estimated amount of the amount to be assessed. This notice is actually the letter that will go out to each of the property owners in either Sharice Woods or the Osage Country Edition to provide further notice that there will be a public hearing, and also to let each of those owners know the estimated amount of the principal amount of their assessments that will be levied. For everybody's benefit also, on the Sharice Woods Edition, these special assessments will be levied over a 15-year period. For the Osage Country Edition, these are assessments that will be levied over a 20-year period for those properties. And so, and just for everybody's benefit as well, the public hearing will be held on April the 7th in conjunction with your normal county commission meeting that date. So at that meeting, there will be a chance for the public to come and give public comment on these two special assessment projects. And then at the close of that public hearing, there will be a assessment resolution for consideration by the board. Once that is adopted, that will formally provide for the levy of these special assessments and the amount set forth in the notices, and for the period of years set forth in that notice as well. So with that being said, I know there's kind of a lot in there, but I will be more than happy to stand for any questions that you may have.
Okay, Garth, so these projects they've been bid out of, they've been completed?
They're completed, yes.
Okay, so we would be approving this after it's all completed? Kind of help me.
Yeah,
Have we
so
already
the
approved?
the projects themselves have been previously authorized. So back in 2018 for Sharice Woods, the property owners submitted a petition signed by 100% of the property owners requesting that the county go ahead and make these improvements. Okay. And then once the improvements are done, assess those costs back to those benefited properties. So that occurred pursuant to Resolution 88-2018 for Sharice Woods. That also occurred pursuant to 77-2020 for the Osage Country Edition. So the owners have already requested the county to make the improvements. Pursuant to that, the county went ahead and made those improvements. They're totally complete now, and now it's time to assess those costs back to the requesting property owners.
Okay. Right, sounds like just a process formality. So, okay. I don't have any other questions. I'll make a motion to approve the statement of costs and assessment roll and notice of public hearing, and establish April 7th at 9 a.m. as the date and time for public hearing, and authorize a notice of such public hearing to be published and mailed as required by law.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Motion carries. Thanks, Garth.
Thank you all very
Good
much.
to see you always.
Yep.
Take care. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item G, a resolution declaring it necessary to build or repair existing bridges in the county under the authority of K.S.A. 68-1103 and providing for the issuance of general obligation bonds to pay the cost thereof.
Okay. Lindsay Poe, Rousseau. Good morning and welcome to the meeting.
Good morning. Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Commissioners. Lindsay Poe Rousseau, your CFO. And I am pleased to be here this morning to talk to you, though I know you're all experts now, about how we do bonding after our session at the budget workshop. So this morning we are going to talk about a resolution to authorize work to begin, basically, on a certain number of bridge projects, and then for us to go ahead later this year and issue bonds to reimburse us for those costs. So essentially, this resolution that you're asked to approve today establishes the county's right to fund those expenditures with cash and then reimburse those cash accounts with the proceeds of a subsequent bond issue. You will see the projects listed in your backup materials. There are 6. Now, what you'll see in the backup materials is that the total cost estimates for those 6 bridges is $5,125,000. However, only $4 million of that is intended to be funded with bond proceeds. The rest has other funding sources. And so those numbers are actually indicated in the earmarked portions or the footnoted portions in your backup. This debt service was included in all versions of the financial forecast that you've seen since we presented the recommended budget to you last year. It was included in the 2021 adopted CIP. And as you saw at the BOCC workshop on the budget, all of our measures, we intend to stay basically within the realm of those measures that we have today with the exception of the one. We do expect that this would have preliminary annual debt service of about $260,000 over 20 years, but of course, as we get closer to the end of the year and the actual sale happens, we'll keep you updated on those figures. And of course, as you just heard, that bond issuance also will include a sale for the special assessments that you just approved, maybe potentially also some refundings or refinancings of current debt if that's appropriate. So we'll be talking more about this throughout the year. And of course, my thanks to Garth Herman here, who is here, who prepared all of this backup material for you with our bond counsel. We'll also be working with our partner at Baker Tilly, who's our municipal advisor, to make sure that we're achieving the best possible interest rates and doing this the way we should. So I am more than happy to answer any questions or to call Garth up to answer any questions. But if not, I recommend you approve the resolution.
Okay. Are there any questions, commissioners? Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the first paragraph here says intent to build or repair. Are all of these existing bridges we're taking down and replacing them entirely? Is that the intent?
I'm gonna let Jim Weber address that since he's here in the room, or Lynn, whoever wants to be the lucky winner.
Morning, Jim. Thanks for being here.
Morning, Jim Weber, Director of Public Works. And I have to look at these real quick, but I think these are all actual full replacements, but we are doing some, in our CIP, we do have some I call major repairs or significant costs, and so this statute provides for being able to do both. I think we use generic language.
Is it my imagination, or is this a little bit unusual? I think all these are fairly large projects, actually. It seems like normally we do a lot of bridges that are smaller in price, but there are more of them. And this seems like a little interesting this year because there's 6 that are somewhat larger projects. Is it my imagination, or am I just misremembering?
It may be true. I think it's kind of, again, random. When we're building a CIP, we're doing bonds out of the bridges that are in that year, and so some years there would be, they're just different sizes that show up at different times. We are trying, Lindsay pointed out, there's a total value of these is over $5 million, so we do try to load bonding and sales tax together so that it gives us more flexibility to use the money when we actually get to it.
Right. Thank you for that answer. I'll just make a comment and then I'll be ready to vote. My only comment is, again, we are using sales tax funds. About $1.125 million of this resolution is sales tax funds. And again, I think that's a good use of sales tax dollars. I guess I would ask you, do you know what, if you don't have the answer right now, that's totally fine. I'm just curious what the sufficiency rating of these bridges is.
I don't have that with me.
That's fine. You get that to me some other time, it's fine. And it won't change what we're doing today anyway. And then my final comment would be this. I'm pretty well known, kind of opposing this $4 million of routine bonding. Again, one of my problems is, I guess, again, we're going to give up about $1.2 million in interest on this today because, again, just using the simple math that Lindsay provided a moment ago, my calculation says a little more than $1 million, maybe $1.2 million in interest we'll use over 20 years. Again, if it's truly emergent work that we have to do, I totally support that. I would rather not use a debt if possible. That's my hope, is to use less debt and more cash. And so, but again, because this is a plan that was adopted in the CIP when we adopted our budget last year, I will support the resolution. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. And again, this is for the 2021 bridge projects calendar year. Okay, I'll make a, Commissioner, how did you make, or I'll make a motion to approve, adopt the resolution. A motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. No other comments. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell? Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner.
Aye, motion carries. Thank you. Thanks again, Lindsay and Garth, for being here, and Jim, you too. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item H, consideration of a grant in the amount of $4 million for Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic.
Okay, we have Joan Timoney on
Yep.
live. Good morning, Joan. Welcome to the commission meeting.
Hey, good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Joan Tammany, Executive Director of ComCare. I'm glad to be here today because ComCare received a grant notice of award from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, which has some very tight deadlines and expectations. This grant is both a blessing and a surprise, as we were not awarded the grant with our initial application last year, but due to the pandemic and the focus on mental health, SAMHSA received additional funding, which is why we now have been awarded this grant. The grant is intended for us to work towards certification as a community behavioral health clinic for the period of February 15th, 2021 to February 14th, 2023. The purpose of these CCBHC, or Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic expansion grants, is to increase access and improve mental health and substance use disorder treatment through the expansion of key activities and services outlined in the grant. This means a stronger focus on 24/7 crisis services, person and family-centered whole health treatment planning, increased coordination with other providers of services to these individuals, and an increase in standardized screening tools and best practices around mental health, substance use, and physical health. It also places a significant obligation on staff competency and ultimately stabilization of our workforce via the funding. So it's a cultural shift in how we work and deliver services, as well as increasing feedback from a client and family advisory council to continuously improve our workflows and access to services. It also requires a stronger focus on health screenings and significant data collection and utilization of the data to drive improvement. We welcome this challenge, and yet we know the lift and effort to achieve the expected goals of the grant will be difficult, but it's important for us to do this and move our center forward. Our learning curve will be steep, but as noted, we're ready to start our pursuit of these lofty goals and become a certified behavioral health clinic. The grant is for 2 years for a total of $4 million to be expended on required staffing, service enhancements, and stabilization of workforce. The grant requires us to have a project director and also an evaluator as new positions. We plan to utilize a vacant position to move one of our current leaders to the project director role for the duration of the grant. The evaluator is a second required position, as this grant comes with an important requirement around data and entry of data into the national portal. In light of this, certified community behavioral health clinics who have been fortunate enough to get grants in advance of us, they've opted to hire outside contractors to be their evaluator. The learning curve for us to skill up and hire an evaluator within the defined 3-month expectations is just too much on top of all the other grant obligations around services we have to achieve with the effort and short deadlines. We've met with several entities that do evaluator role work and have discussed with you our desire to contract with the Learning Tree Institute at Greenbush, located in Girard, Kansas, for this critical grant work. They have experience doing this work, are working with other certified community behavioral health clinics in Kansas and other states, and they have staffing to start working immediately on our behalf and have a reasonable rate for this work. I visited with each of you on current needs. The time constraints of the grant are stiff. We must move quickly to reach the initial goals that are due by mid-March, mid-April, and mid-June. As such, I'm here today to ask you to accept this award from SAMHSA, to authorize me to sign the electronic documents in the federal portals, and to support the 2 key positions, and in that light, to authorize ComCare to establish a contract with Learning Tree Institute at Greenbush to fulfill the evaluator role under the required staff. I do want to share that we're still working with our SAMHSA grant manager to establish a more detailed budget based on our scope of work, and I'll bring that to you at a later date. I can't say how important and exciting this opportunity is for our community, and I hope you support this work. I also want to mention that this is Social Worker Appreciation Month, so I want to take a quick moment and do a shout out to all professional staff, from case managers to clinicians to supervisors and directors that are social workers, counselors, psychologists, marriage and family therapists, etc. You know, the work we do is complex and it's difficult, but these professionals are the heart of what we do here at ComCare. So thank you for letting me take the moment to recognize them. And I stand for any questions you might have regarding the grant.
Okay, Commissioner Cruz?
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Joan, for briefing us last week on this. I wonder, you had mentioned the fact that there was a tight time frame. Do you see any challenges with meeting those expectations?
That's a tough question to answer because we're still working with our grant manager, and so some of the things that we have to submit by March 15th, we'll get the work done, but then we have to wait for responses from them to finalize stuff. But the challenges are, you know, we have a lean workforce, we have a lean leadership management team. We're going to be busy. It's going to be our full focus for the next few months.
Sure. Well, be sure to reach out for some help if you need it. We want to make sure that we get you the resources you need in case you need some help. The best thing about this, I think, when you talked about 24/7 crisis service, we know that mental health doesn't happen during an 8 to 5 workday. Also, the increased coordination, the screening, but the data collection. I'm excited to hear what kind of data we're going to receive from this. And so, when appropriate, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay. Any other questions? I don't believe there are any. So, Commissioner Cruz?
I will make a motion to accept the grant award, authorize Joan Tammany, Executive Director, to sign all necessary documents, and to increase the staffing table to identify the personnel considerations section of this request.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Lopez. Any other comments? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis? Aye. Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Madam Clerk, and Joan, so that motion carried unanimously. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item I, Sedgwick County Fire District 1 Agreement with the City of Clearwater for Plans Review.
It says Chief Doug Williams presenting, but you don't look like Doug Williams.
No, I'm sorry. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Robert Timmons, the Division Chief with Sedgwick County Fire District 1. What we have before us is a contract to perform reviews for life safety, fire protection systems, and alarm system reviews, and construction inspections up until the time the occupant would take final occupancy of the building for the City of Clearwater. There are fees and rules that are set forth of how this will all take place in the contract. The recommended action is to approve and sign, and I'll stand for any questions you may have.
Okay, so this is because City of Clearwater is not capable of doing this. They're asking us or you to do this.
They approached us through their fire chief, and then with the help of county legal, their city officials as well as our legal have put together this document to reflect their wishes.
And they'll be refunding some fees for our costs to do this.
Yes.
Right. Okay. I'll give it to Commissioner Lopez. This is Clearwater. It's in your.
I mean, if this is what we need to do, then I'm all
Right.
for it.
Okay. Right. I'll make a motion to approve the agreement and authorize the chairman to sign.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any other comments? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item J, Report of the Board of Bids and Contracts regular meeting on March 4th, 2021.
Well, Joe Thomas, good to see you.
I'm back.
Yeah, there you go.
Good to see you again, too. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. The meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts for March 4th We're seeking 7 items for your approval. And our first item is the road improvements for Public Works. This is the 2021 Nova Chip project. Recommendation is to accept the low bid from Cornejo and Sons in the amount of $3,973,094.32. Item number 2 is Niche Vision Forensics LLC, STR Mix Software Annual Upgrades and Maintenance for the Regional Forensic Science Center. This recommendation is to accept the quote from Niche Vision Forensics LLC, and that's in the amount of $72,415, and it covers a contract period of 4 years. Item number 3 is the custodial services for the Sedgwick County Kellogg and Douglas tag offices. And that's for the Sedgwick County tag offices. This recommendation is to accept the proposal from Harris Dream Clean LLC and establish contract pricing at the rates listed in the table for 1 year with 3 one-year options to renew. Item number 4, Aumentum Maintenance and Support for Division of Information and Technology. This recommendation is to accept the quote from Manitron Incorporated, and that's in the amount of $388,492. Item number 5 is the Sheriff's Office Vehicles, Fleet Management and Sheriff's Office. Recommendation is to accept the quote from Davis Moore Automotive based on the State of Kansas contract 49591, and that's in the amount of $411,175.81. Item 6, skid steered loaders, compact track loader, and attachments for Public Works and Fleet Management. This recommendation is to accept the quote from White Star Machinery and Supply based on the State of Kansas contract 44071, and this is in the amount of $158,599.17. And our final item, item 7, supply and install aviary netting for risk management. And this recommendation is to accept the quote from Nets Unlimited Incorporated, and that's in the amount of $995,875. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have, and I recommend approval.
Okay, are there any questions about these orders? I don't see any. So I will make a motion to approve the board and bids contract as recommended and presented.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Motion carries. Thanks again, Joe. Madam Clerk, next item.
Consent agenda.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tom Stoles, County Manager's Office, recommending approval of items K through T this morning.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Is there any questions on any of the items K through T? I don't see any, so I will make a motion to approve consent items K through T.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for the consent items K through T. Don't see other comments. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Legislative issues.
So, has something changed since yesterday?
Not so much, Chairman. Good morning to Key Master, Communications Director. Just here to provide you an update on legislative items, continuing on our conversation from yesterday. We'll start off with the document I handed you, Commissioners. Senate Bill 13. This is a bill that we've talked about in length over the last couple of weeks. Just an update on this one. The bill did pass the House last week, 120 to 3. But House members did make some changes to include a 1-year delay. So if you remember, the provision was to send out public notice by mailer starting this year, but the House did make changes to amend that to 1-year delay for 2022. But the law would still require local governments to adhere to revenue neutral rate and some of the other things in that bill. We expect that to happen at some point, and I'll definitely bring you guys an update when that does. Senate Bill 52, we've talked about this in length. This is just kind of continuation. We don't expect any movement on Senate Bill 52 or 53. Sorry, on the bottom, it kind of cut off there. Senate Bill 52 and 53 are both in the Committee on Ways and Means Committee. We don't expect a hearing until after March 15th, so sometime next week. Senate Bill 100, this is just kind of a continuation as well. We talked about this last week. This was removed from the calendar. This was a big contention for Commissioner Howe. This one has no subject to deadline, so there will still be discussion on this moving forward. Senate Bill 149 and Senate Bill 286, these are the bills that we talked about yesterday. There are on the agenda for hearing for tomorrow in the Senate at 9:30. So we'll be watching that closely as well. On the federal side of things, actually, before we move on, Commissioner Dennis yesterday made a plea to our media partners, and it was on the front page, talking about the conversation that you guys did have yesterday. So our media partners are listening and are picking up on things that we're saying here at the county, so that's good. On the federal side, the Senate did pass the bill for the $1.9 trillion relief package. If you guys remember, this has a lot of things in there, but more importantly to us, funding for state and local governments, as well as support for local businesses. The breakdown of that, I'm not really sure how that looks, but there is some support for local businesses as well as those who are unemployed. So continuing that $300 a week in unemployment insurance. We expect the House to take this up this afternoon, and I'll be watching that closely and send you any updates once that does pass. At this point, I'm not sure if Mr. Rappoon has any comments, but I'll stand for any questions that you may have.
Okay, I'll keep, so Senate Bill 52 and 3 kind of directly relate to our concern. Are we satisfied that we don't need to do anything more as far as attend for public comment or anything?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, those two bills were introduced in the Ways and Means Committee, went through Senate Local Government, went past, both of them passed through the Senate as a whole fairly significantly, and they're going to be now House Local Government, and they'll start being worked right away. So hopefully we'll have some movement, and then we'll have to go through the same process on this side where we have somebody testify on behalf of both bills from the county and try to get the support of the House on those bills. So.
Okay, so commissioners that have been testifying, I guess, need to be available in the future on the House side, and you'll keep us abreast of that. And Commissioner Howell on the one that you testify at as well. So, okay. Any other Commissioner Howell? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just I guess a question and maybe a comment here. So on the Senate Bill 13, it's interesting that the House did add a one-year delay to that, but I guess the point of this is now it's got to go to conference. And the conference committee can do whatever they want. They can revert that back to what the Senate's version is if that's what they want to do. So ultimately, I guess I would just say the huge numbers, especially out of the Senate, and now you can see the huge numbers coming out of the House. This is a veto-proof bill. I believe that there's probably going to be an effort in conference to revert this back to implementation of this year. So again, I think this is not really a done deal yet. There's still quite a bit of work that could be done on this bill, and so we need to continue to watch it. And I know there is some relief in the bill as well. They made some amendments regarding, I think, smaller jurisdictions as well as some notification relief for this first couple of years, I believe, of implementation. I do notice on the I see Joe's still here. That's good. I do see that on one of the things we just passed in our purchasing agreement was some software for the taxation, billing and taxation software. And I don't know if that would actually have capabilities of doing what Senate Bill 13 needs it to do, but I just thought that might be a good understanding of where we are with that software and how that would apply to Senate Bill 13. Does anybody have any data on that? No? Okay. No. And then the final thing I would just say is, since we talked yesterday pretty much at length, you mentioned this is in the newspaper this morning, but Senate Bill 286, again, I would personally say that, the comments that Commissioner Dennis made yesterday that made the paper are talking about the consequences to Sedgwick County government should the property tax portion of that bill be included in that legislation as it goes forward. But I do think that there's some merit to the other part of that bill, which deals with the potential cash coming to the state of Kansas through the $1.9 trillion stimulus package from the federal government. And that would peel off $100 million that would actually be out there available to businesses in our state that would actually go to also help businesses in Sedgwick County. So again, if there's a way that we could, I don't know if we plan to testify on that. I don't know if we're going to testify or not, but I understand that we probably should. But I would like to see us split our support and opposition to this bill, supporting part of the bill and potentially opposing the other part of that bill. So I guess maybe we ought to have a discussion about that, whether we plan to testify on that bill or not. It's only a question. If nobody wants to comment, I guess I can just.
Well, Commissioner Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think Senate Bill 286 is important enough that someone ought to testify. I know that our lobbyist right now is not able to because he has a conflict of interest on this issue. So I don't know if one of the commissioners need to go up there, or whether Keem or Mike, our chairman, need to go up. But I think that is an important enough issue that we need to talk about the property tax portion of it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Dennis, you've been vocal. I've been vocal in the past. You've been vocal recently. Would you want to go present testimony?
Commissioners, if I may, Mike Papoon, that bill's being heard tomorrow morning at 9:30 in the morning. We're too late to get on the list to testify for this particular bill on a position. I talked to Jay Hall with the Kansas Association of Counties yesterday. They are going to oppose the bill on behalf of all counties. I've talked to representatives in Johnson County. I think we'll kind of talked about working it on the back, on the outside with Johnson County to try to get some changes in. But we'll see what happens in the committee tomorrow, and then be prepared for the House if it gets through the Senate. Certainly be presenting testimony there.
We could review the previous testimony that we had on file and clean it up a little bit. I've seen some things. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Just a further comment. You're right. We probably can't appear before the committee during the hearing, but we probably can reach out to the committee members. I would encourage the county still to issue a statement or send an email to those members of the committee so they'll at least have our perspective before they sit down and have that public hearing. That would be a very good way for us to, I guess, redeem the time that we have left.
If we can get a statement that all the commissioners could, I mean, it's a little hard to get a statement that you might all agree to with respect to a position on this bill prior to tomorrow morning, and have some kind of official action on that as far as the commission.
Can I suggest that, and I've got some commissioners want to speak, can maybe suggest that each of it, if you get a copy of to each of us, the member of the Senate committee, and then each of us feel free to email 1 or 2 or 10 sentences directly. That might be as effective. Okay. That way it's not an official vote or a collective message, if that's comfortable with everybody. But first of all, Commissioner, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, and I could say we can certainly see how the testimony goes in tomorrow's hearing, have a position statement on behalf of this board sent to all the Senate members prior to would they be voting on the floor. That would be something realistic to do as well.
Yeah. Okay. Commissioner Cruz?
Thank you, Chairman. So my understanding is the chamber here in town is supportive of this bill.
Wichita Area Chamber of Commerce, is my understanding, is supporting this legislation, yes.
Even knowing how devastating it could be to Sedgwick County?
I think in discussions with the county manager, we were going to sit down with members of the chamber and perhaps discuss some of the differences that we might have on this bill. One of the problems that you have when you have a piece of legislation that has so many parts to it, so many facets, is the chamber really supporting the entire bill? I mean, it's easy just to come out, I'm against or I'm opposed, because you might have one portion of it you support or you oppose. I think we can dig into the more nuanced parts of this bill to see if the chamber really is expecting Section 7 reimbursement of property tax to be a meaningful component to this bill, or if they're more concerned with as Commissioner Howell was saying, the $100 million fund to help businesses across the state. And I think we can get more clarity to that, your question, if we talk to the chamber about their position.
When is that conversation going to happen?
We're going to try to arrange a meeting this afternoon.
Okay. It's just kind of unfortunate that our lobbyist, who is very good at having conversations with lawmakers in Topeka, is unable to advocate for us. I mean, we pay a lobbyist to do that. And so I wonder if there's a way for us to come to an agreement so that we can have another voice advocating for Sedgwick County in Topeka. And so I'm hopeful that that can happen and we can come to a resolution soon, considering that they're meeting tomorrow to discuss this. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Dennis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that our chairman has already gone up and briefed basically what our opposition is to these items, and that we've already drafted a letter, or his testimony at least, on this issue. So I think it'd be a very simple matter for us to put together something to transmit to all of the people that are involved in this. And I don't know that there's any opposition from all five of any of the five board members to oppose the property tax portion of this. There are some things in there that we do agree with, but it's mainly the property tax portion of this that we have an opposition to. So I would think we could get a letter out with the chairman's signature this afternoon, I would hope, and get it up there. So I don't know if anybody's opposed to doing that or not, but that would be my recommendation, is to have the chairman sign something out for the Board of County Commissioners opposed to that one portion. Thank you.
Okay, it's an idea. We're working our way through this. We're kind of swerving here and there. But if we took the official testimony that happened at the House and copied that with an introductory sentence that said, this is our previous testimony against, that would also be against Section 7. And that way we're not trying to think if that might work.
We can certainly work up a draft. If this commission is in opposition to the portion of the bill that deals with reimbursing the property tax.
Correct.
And we have from our CFO the potential impact of that, we could certainly get the one-page letter put together today for the chairman's signature if no other commissioners object,
Yeah.
and can get that to all the committee members.
And that was on March 11th? No, that's tomorrow. I've got a copy of the testimony somewhere here, but I think that would be appropriate. That way because we've already, the five of us had approved the first House letter. So that would be consistent with the property tax. And then if we said a couple of sentences to introducing that.
Yeah, since it isn't formal testimony that we'd be submitting to the committee and merely a letter we'd be submitting to the different members of the tax committee, Senate Tax Committee, we could address actually both of the bills, Senate Bill 149 and Senate Bill 286, in the same letter and talk about our concerns about what effect it could have on the county's taxes. So by reimbursing the property tax, certainly put something like that together. The draft letter I sent to all of you was similar to the testimony the chairman presented on February 9th, earlier against Senate Bill or House Bill 2142. But Section 7 is very similar to that, and so we can easily put together something that says you're going to, committee members, you're going to be hearing Senate Bill 149 and Senate Bill 286 tomorrow. Here's our concerns on behalf of the commission about some of the provisions of those bills, and talk about the impact of Sedgwick County.
So refresh my memory. So Senate Bill 149 is basically a duplication of the House Bill
2142 that you
Right.
testified
Right.
against. And 286 is the more complicated bill,
Yes.
but Section 7 comes up with a reimbursement formula that's very similar to 149. So we can combine those into one letter and have it ready for your signature.
Okay. All right. If it's the will of the commission, I would support that we do that as outlined, a letter similar or even copied on the previous House bill as it relates to Senate Bill 149, and then a comment that it also reflects our objection to Section 7 of Senate Bill 286. Clear as mud? Everybody? Okay, do I need a motion to do that so we approve? I'll make a motion to do that. Okay, and there's a second. Madam Clerk, I don't know how you write that motion up. I'm kind of, so a motion to send a letter with a copy of our previous House Bill number
2142.
House Bill 2142, our objection to 2142 as it relates to Senate Bill 149. That's SB 149. And additional, and
Senate Bill, Section 7 of Senate Bill 286.
There you go. And Section 7 of Senate Bill 286. Okay, that's the motion. You want to re-second that? Motion and a second by Commissioner Dennis. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would be glad to support the letter as well, but I guess me personally, I just want to let the record show that I am in favor of the other half of that bill that uses stimulus money to the state of Kansas to help our businesses. I think that's actually good language, and I would personally encourage the legislature to take a good close look at that, and I would like to offer my support to that portion of the bill. And how I do that, I'll figure that out going forward, but I do support the letter on the portion that you highlighted today in your motion. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think that is a step that's, I've had a lot of discussion yesterday afternoon with a few key people, and when we testified on this previous, our number of potential damage on the county, Sedgwick County, was 40 to 50 million, potentially something like that. And Johnson County is already on record saying theirs was estimated to be about 120 million. So I question 100 million being in a pot when, if you add up the property tax damage for Sedgwick and Johnson, was going to be well north of that. But that's something for them to look at. I'll just point that out. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Being none, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell? Aye. Commissioner Cruz?
Aye.
Chairman Meitzner?
Aye. Okay, Akeem, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you for keeping us updated.
You're welcome.
Hopefully you can go another day without having to change. Okay, help me with the order here. Do we want to recess and then open the fire district? Well, I'm sorry. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Committee reports.
Is there any committee reports that the commission want to report on that they want to share? Okay, don't see any. Next item, please.
Other.
Does commissioners have anything other at this time? I don't see any. So we do have an executive session, but I think we could adjourn and go to the fire district. So,
Recess.
I'm sorry, recess. We'll go to the fire now, and then we'll come back from recess, and then we'll go to executive session. Okay, so we'll recess the board, county commission, and we will now call to order the governing body, fire district number 1. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Roll call. Commissioner Lopez?
Present.
Commissioner Dennis? Present. Commissioner Howell? Present. Commissioner Cruz? Present. Chairman Meitzner?
Present. Next item, please.
Public agenda.
Does anybody from the public want to address the commission on anything with the fire district? At this time, we don't have any, so we'll close the public agenda. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, fire meeting minutes of December 22nd, 2020.
Okay, Commissioners, you had a chance to review the minutes of our December 22nd. Wow, that was a while ago. Fire District meeting. So any questions on those? Being none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 22nd. Is there a second?
Second that.
Okay. Almost died from lack of a second. Okay, I'm not meaning to be funny here. So, all right, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez? Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
New business, item B, Sedgwick County Fire District 1 agreement with the City of Derby for plans review.
Okay, I hope Chief Williams, there he is. Welcome to the meeting, Chief. And thank you for joining Commissioner Cruz and I a couple of days ago. That was very helpful to have you there.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome.
Yes.
Are we going to, on the agreement first?
Yeah,
Okay.
the first is the agreement with the City of Derby.
Okay. Division Chief of Prevention, Rob Timmons, is going to speak on that.
Okay. Good to see you again, Chief Timmons.
Good morning, Commissioners. Once again, Robert Timmons with Sedgwick County Fire District 1. The fire district has been approached by the City of Derby to do, similar to the Clearwater, they need us to do their fire and life safety plan reviews, their sprinkler system plan reviews, as well as their alarm system and all construction inspections due to the retirement of their fire marshal. Sorry.
You're getting choked up because he retired?
I have dry mouth, I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, so anyway, this is very similar to, the difference mainly between this agreement and the other is Clearwater uses MABCD and Derby has their own, so we'll have some different mechanisms for payment.
Very helpful. Commissioner Dennis?
Just a real quick question. Why did we do the one for Clearwater on the VOCC agenda and this on the fire agenda? It seems like if we're dealing with fire, it all ought to have been on the fire agenda.
And Commissioner Dennis, Justin Wagoner, Assistant County Counselor, I'll take that question. Actually, the Clearwater agreement is also on this consent agenda, so oddly enough, it's being proposed to be approved by both the governing bodies because that agreement has an enforcement component under which the Sedgwick County staff could potentially enforce the Sedgwick County Fire Code within the city limits of Clearwater. And so that's a county commission action, not a fire district action in terms of enforcement. County court is essentially managed by the Board of County Commissioners. The Derby fire agreement actually contemplates using Derby's fire code. They have their own code. So we would be inspecting under the Derby fire code. They have their own enforcement mechanism, court, all that kind of stuff. So there's no enforcement component theorized there, so it's solely a fire district agreement. Does that help explain the difference?
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
So I see it's on consent. What we just did for Clearwater looks like is on consent, item D coming up. Is that correct, Jason? Okay, all right. Okay, Chief?
Are there any other questions?
Any other questions? I don't think so, but thanks for clarifying everything. Okay, I'll refer to Commissioner Howell. It's in your district. If you want to, the Derby.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman. I would make a motion we would drop the resolution with this agreement.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Any other questions? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez? Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner.
Motion carries. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item C, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts regular meeting on March 4th, 2021.
Wow, this is the Joe Thomas show today.
I'm like a bad penny. I keep showing up. Good morning again. Yes, still morning. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts for Fire District Number 1 on March 4th results in one item that we're seeking your approval for, and this is the tender truck for the fire district. The recommendation is to accept the proposal from Conrad Fire Equipment Incorporated in the amount of $466,837.16. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions, and I recommend approval of this item.
Okay, is there any questions about this item? And I don't see any, so we'll make a motion to approve the recommendation of the Board of Bids and Contracts on this item.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. I don't see any other questions. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell? Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner.
Aye.
Thank you again, Commissioners.
You bet, Jim. Have a good rest of the day. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Consent agenda.
Good morning again, Commissioners. Tom Stoles, County Manager. Recommend approval of consent items D and E.
Okay. I see that item, consent items D and E. Is there any questions about either of those items? I don't see any, so I'll make a motion to approve consent items D and E.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. No other comments. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis?
Aye.
Commissioner Howell? Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. If there's no other comments or business from the commission on the fire district, we will adjourn the fire district meeting, and we will return from recess to the Sedgwick County Board of Commission meeting. With that, Madam Clerk, next item.
Executive session.
Yes, Commissioner Cruz.
I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session for 30 minutes until 11 a.m. for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel relating to the performance evaluation of a management-level county employee, and that the Board of County Commissioners return to this room from executive session at 11 a.m.
I'll second that. Any other questions? Being none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Lopez?
Aye.
Commissioner Dennis? Commissioner Howell?
Aye.
Commissioner Cruz? Chairman Meitzner.
Aye. Okay, we'll recess into executive session, in which we need to clear the room. Media, it'll take a couple of minutes to get started. Excuse me. Okay, we have returned from executive session, no action taken. And with that, are there any other comments? I just was reminded, I'll make one quick comment that I saw in the news that Dr. Lee Norman and maybe the governor are saying that we could be going to phase 3 before the end of April on vaccination. So just make a formal challenge to our vaccinating world that we should be done with phase 2 in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I hope so. I mean, end of March, he said. That's right.
End of April.
No. It was April. I think it was April. I'll have to relook. End of April. Doable? Okay. Thank you. All right, any other questions or comments? I don't see any, so we will stand adjourned.